What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode. As always, I am super grateful for you to be joining me here today. Now, if you love the podcast, if you want to hear more, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you are the first to know when a new episode drops. We are getting close. We are getting very close to the 100th episode, and I cannot believe that we are almost at that milestone. And it is a very exciting time. And I know there's a lot of messages coming through being like, Henny, what's the plan? What's going on? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see because, I'm all about hitting with a plot twist that they never saw coming. Now, today on the podcast, I want to have a discussion, which is definitely going to be a bestie chat. But this is a conversation where I personally believe, even for myself and my growth and how I've evolved / how I continue to evolve, it is one of the biggest breakthroughs that I possibly had. And I think for a lot of females out there that this is something that unless you actually start doing the work and you make a decision and you really, really make a line in the sand, that you will never actually have the breakthrough that you really desire. And I really think about personal growth. And obviously this channel is all about you becoming your highest, hottest, most fucking fabulous version of self. But when we think about personal growth, people always think about the end result, right? We think about the transformation, we think about the glow up, we think about the end result, which is definitely so, so important. You've got to be able to visualize it. You've got to be able to see this version of you. You have to be able to always tunnel vision and look forward. But if we don't have a deeper understanding of why we are the person that we are and why we function the way that we do, we will constantly keep on defaulting to our old programming and we will constantly revert back to our old settings. And I think about all of the women that I've worked with before. I think about my personal experiences. I think about the main things that have always prevented me moving forward. And it's quite simply me getting in the way of me. And it's not anybody else's job to get out of the way of yourself, but it's about you taking active ownership and you truly letting go of the past so that you can step into the future you can become this incredible version. Now, one of the hardest things about a human, one of the hardest things of being who you are is that every single path, every single moment, every single decision, everything that you have done has got you to the position where you are now. And that's the very first most important realization for any female that's out there right now. And this is removing the victim mentality. And this is removing the poor me. I've had it so hard. This person did this to me. This circumstance happened to me. I'm destined for failure. And the reason that this is my number one most important factor is you taking active ownership of your life. And this is the hardest part to do, that the recognition that maybe you have been born into a not such great family life. Maybe you have been put into a place where wasn't great circumstances. Maybe there has been a series of events where you're going to say to me, hey, look, Henny, you don't know what it's like to walk a day in my shoes. You have no idea the family that I had. You have no idea the friends that I've had. You have no idea the socioeconomic life that I have. And you know what? You're right. It's not my job to walk a day in your shoes. It is not my job to see the world through the lens that you do, but it's my job to be able to help you break through the cycles that you're doing. And that means removing the idea that you in the current right now are a reflection of the past and that you get to choose what your future is going to hold. Now, when I say taking active ownership, this is what it means to be able to look at the past circumstances and say, I chose. I chose to go down that pathway. I chose to put myself in that situation. And choosing to recognize that you have the power of the past not only will liberate you, but it will also really give you clarity that you have complete control of the future. And that's why it's really important to look at the past and not say the poor me victim mentality. And I think about many of the years and the experiences and things that I've gone through and some of the hardships I definitely talk about here on social media. And I will talk to you guys because I think it's important for you guys to understand my hardships and to know my hero's journey and my highs and my lows and my everything in between. But some things that have happened in the past that I don't necessarily want to talk about on social media, I definitely would fall into the victim mentality. I for sure would blame myself. I would for sure say, poor me. Like, it's just, I'm so unfortunate. I'm so unlucky. Like, why does this happen to me? But it wasn't serving me, and it doesn't serve you to keep on carrying that moving forward. So the first thing that you need to do when we're focusing on truly letting go of the past is recognizing that you actually have control of the circumstances, and every single decision that you have made in life, from the moment that you were able to make decisions in life, has led you to where you have been. It's like the sliding door mentality. It's the butterfly effect, right? Like, you open one door and it takes you to one path, and then the other door takes you to the other path. And those are your choices, right? Every choice is going to lead you to a different narrative and a different story in life. And so first of all, we recognize no matter what has happened in our past, no matter who has hurt us, no matter what circumstances we were born into, no matter what we look like, no matter all of the little pieces that make you uniquely who you are right now, I want you to first of all take active ownership of that. And then second of all, just want you to let go of everything that's happened. And I know that's so much easier said to done, particularly when people are ruminating over these thoughts over and over again. But like I was saying at the very, very get-go, for you to become the version that you want to be, for you to become this magnetic, incredible woman who has this abundant, amazing life filled with so much abundance, like so many incredible, magical things, you quite simply cannot carry the identity of this broken woman, this unlucky woman, this unfortunate woman, this woman who things never work out for, because that's literally the aura that you're going to be taking through. And so when you keep on holding on to that past and you keep on holding on to that identity about you, it quite literally ripples into your whole entire future. So first of all, we recognize the pain points. We recognize what's happened in the past. We take active ownership of the past and say that, I actually had control of the circumstances and I actually chose how to respond to those as well. And that's the real stitch up too, because, in hindsight, we're like, I definitely could have responded or I could have done things very differently, but I take ownership of whatever's happened in the past. The second of all choice is that, I actually choose the woman that I'm going to be really becoming, right? And so we've made the decision that we're letting go of this identity. We're letting go of the people that hurt us. And, I think for me, where I'm at right now and the breakthrough that I'm having and have had over the last, definitely the last 18 months. And if you've been following for a while, then you would have seen that I've had the transformation of the century. But one of the biggest things that really was holding me back, and only just until recently did I realize that was still having a little bit of a chokehold on me, was my holding on to anger or frustrations or hurt of the things that have been in past. And it wasn't even necessarily people. It was me. It was me that I would give up too easily, or that I stayed in relationships too long, or I didn't fight for a future because I didn't believe that I was worthy and deserving of that. And as you can see, I'm not shifting blame to any of the people that were attached to those circumstances. It was that I chose to stay in a not great relationship that wasn't aligned. I chose staying working for something that didn't feel aligned anymore and that wasn't serving me and me as a person. I chose to stay in friendship groups that I knew that I didn't feel connected deeply to and that they didn't bring my best version of self out. And so when you start changing and you say, I chose those circumstances, I chose to be in those places, it allows you to less feel frustrated. And one of the biggest emotions humans carry is anger, remorse, and sadness, fear, all of those feelings, right? They're the pit of the stomach. They're the ones that really make you feel not so good. But you have to remember, when you're holding on to all of these emotions and you're choosing to attach those emotions to that you were a victim of those circumstances, every single time you replay that situation or that emotion or how you're feeling, your mind doesn't know the difference, right? Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's happening right now or what's happening for 10 years ago. And so when we're reliving those moments and we're reliving those feelings, you're just doing a movie that's just on repeat over and over again, and you're making yourself feel those things. So when we change the narrative, we don't forget about it. We can't just forget about what's happened in the past. I mean, some people have an amazing flip on and on switch. I've met some incredible people who can quite literally block it out. But for me, and I know many other ladies, emotion-based, we change the narrative and we get to choose what the story is. You get to choose whatever you want to fill your mind with. So choose that I chose to put myself in those circumstances. But the most important thing that you have to be able to recognize in this whole entire bigger picture is that everything had to happen that way so that this moment can happen this way. And that's the real flip. That's the huge switch. I take control, but also everything had to happen that way so that this moment can unfold and this moment can happen this way. And like what I was saying in terms of the things that have happened to the past for me, in terms of what has happened, I used to hold on to it with such remorse and such anger and frustration. But I now realize that I am the coach, I am the mentor, I am the friend, I am the leader that I am, because I'm not coming from a place of I'm judging you or I'm telling you like from a place that I've never been there. For majority of the things that all of my clients are going through and the women that are listening to this podcast is that I've actually walked the day in the shoes that you have. The path that you have walked before, I have walked, and I'm so glad that I did walk that path, because it means that when I'm mentoring you and I'm coaching you, I'm not taking it from a place of judgment. I'm saying, I've been there. Let me express ticket you out of here. Let me give you the express golden ticket, business class, first class ticket out of here, so that you can actually carve this beautiful, beautiful life. I get shivers thinking about it, because so often when I have women come to me and they're talking about such intimate details of their lives, of their relationships, of things that hurt and broke them before, I truly, truly have that like, I see you. Yeah. And I love that quote from Avatar. I'm such an Avatar fan, where I really do look at women and I'm like, actually truly see you, because I've been there before. And one of the things that flows on to the next thing about truly letting go, understanding that it's a part of your path and everything has to happen the way that it happens so this can happen. And then that flows on to the fact of taking active ownership of your life and refusing to ever go back down that path again. And that's the real breakthrough moment. That's the moment that will literally transform your life in the most incredible way, that you refuse to ever be in that position again. And what do I actually need to do to never be in that position again? And you have to remember, as a human, you are hardwired to default to your program settings. And like a computer is set up to its settings when it starts up, you will always, when you do a system override, want to go straight back to those settings. And so we need to create new settings, new benchmarks, new standards for you that become your new default. And that means you deeply understanding what your standards are, what you're working towards, who you want to be, having that really crystal clarity of your future and what your standards are and what you will tolerate in life and what you won't ever tolerate again. And that's where it takes taking some digging, doing a little bit of digging and figuring out who you are as a person right now, but who do I want to be in the future? And what would that person never settle for? What would that person's standards be? What would that person do to show up every day? What would that person do to become their highest, most incredible magnetic version of self? And then you quite simply, my favorite word, reverse engineer it into the habits of that person. And then you repetitively have to do it. And the most important part is the repetition. You have to understand that before the results come, before you become this magnetic, incredible version, you have to put the reps in. Daily, you have to be putting those reps in, and you have to do it when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, when life is lifing and everything is on fire and you feel the grapples, you feel that pull of old version pulling back and it's tugging with every fiber of your being. And you push back with action every single time. You push back with an action that old you would have never done. I normally would snooze and I wouldn't go to the gym. I wake up and I move my body. I snooze the alarm and I miss my workout. I make sure I get my session done in the afternoon. I want to eat a bag of chips because I feel hormonal and I've got PMS. I instead fuel my body with a meal that's going to make me feel full, aligned, and I take a disco nap. And so you start pushing back. You keep on pushing back with different default settings and you start conditioning your mind in a different way. And like what I was saying before about the mind doesn't know the difference between the past and the present, when you are filling it with this future version of self and their habits and all of the things that they're doing, your brain starts to shift and move. Adding some little Hennish vocabulary there. Start to shift and move. And so then what happens from there is that you start becoming future you. And that's why people love talking about becoming that future version of self. But it's quite simply the bridge that's the most important part of becoming future version of self. And then you do the repetitions and the transformation starts to come on the outside, on the inside, in terms of your friendship circles, in terms of your career opportunities, in terms of what you're doing. And before you know it, you are becoming unrecognizable and you have become unrecognizable. Not because you were overnight sensation, but you decided to do the work, to let go of an identity, to take active responsibility of their life, and to forge the path of that woman and be relentless in the pursuit of making it happen, because you know deep down, and this is the most important part, guys, that you are so fucking worthy and so deserving of whatever you want to achieve in life, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how small or how big it is. let it be known that if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. And I truly, truly believe that for every single woman listening to this podcast, if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. And so fill your mind with the most abundant, incredible, nothing is too big for you, but recognize it is the tiny little habits releasing this old version of self and carving this path for this incredible, incredible woman that you're going to become. Guys, it is a beautiful day to truly be at peace with letting go of an old version of you. And one of my favorite Hennish mantras of all of them, if you haven't listened to it before, is the mentality of not me, not anymore. And repeat it when your mind is going feral and that inner bitch is going absolutely wild. Not me, not anymore. I refuse to be held by the chokehold of my past. I refuse to play a victim of my circumstances. And I refused any of my wounds to stay open. I am sealing them up. I am closing them. They are scars. They're battle wounds. They're reminders of everything that I've been through. But they're also reminders that I can go through absolutely the darkest nights and I can still see beautiful stars. Guys, thank you for joining me on the podcast. I got chills. I don't know whether it's the air conditioning or chills, because I just feel that for so many women that this might be the podcast that they listen to. And I hope it sprinkles those seeds into your mind that you're like, I can do this. I can let go of the past. I can take a big ass breath and I can forge the future. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit subscribe. If you loved the episode, give it a share on your Instagram stories or leave a comment below, and I'm always open in the DMs. But thank you for joining me, guys. Go out, be kind to other people, be even kinder to yourself, and let's make today count, shall we? See you guys.